Hello everyone, I'm Ehsan Farahbakhsh, Research Associate in the Earthwide Group, University of Sydney, and going to talk about an improved generative adversarial network for mapping geochemical anomalies in brief. Among different machine learning methods, deep learning can be used to deal with complex and nonlinear geochemical data and recognize hidden patterns. An improved generative adversarial network has been used in this study to detect mineralization-related multivariate anomalies of an imbalanced geochemical dataset. The class imbalance problem refers to a classification problem where some classes are either majorly or moderately underrepresented compared to other classes. Class imbalance in a dataset is a major problem for classifiers that result in poor prediction with a high true negative rate, but a low true positive rate for a majority negative training dataset, which is the case in mineral exploration projects. The hybridization of generative adversarial network, or GAN, and synthetic minority oversampling technique, SMOTH, was used to address the imbalance classification of a geochemical dataset. SMOTH uses interpolation to randomly generate new samples from the nearest neighborhood of minority class data, and on the other hand, GAN was originally designed to generate realistic-looking images for large datasets. However, it can also generate minority class samples, balancing the class distribution and effectively avoiding overfitting. These figures actually show how SMOTH works, and so SMOTH uses interpolation to randomly generate new samples from the nearest neighborhood of minority class data. The major drawback of the SMOTH is that it focuses on local information and therefore it does not generate a diverse set of data. SMOTH is known to produce some irregular or out of distribution samples. And the generated data are generally insufficiently realistic compared to GAN, which captures the true data distribution in order to generate data for the minority class. In this slide, you can see the structure of a normal GAN and also the proposed hybrid approach which has been used in this study. GAN is not ideal for oversampling as it was originally designed for generating realistic-looking images with convolutional neural networks rather than oversamples for the minority class. Additionally, GAN may face a data scarcity problem as the minority class is already in a reduced form where model training requires more data to be sacrificed for validation and testing purposes. The unrealistic or overgeneralized samples of SMOTH are transformed into the realistic distribution of data by GAN where there is not enough minority class data available for GAN to process them effectively, actually in the hybrid approach. And GAN works on pre-sampled minority data produced by SMOTH rather than randomly generating samples. We tested different oversampling methods, including the SMOTH, GAN, and also the hybrid approach on a geochemical dataset in the west of Sydney, around near the city of Molang. And this dataset actually involves the concentration values of different elements, including silver, arsenic, gold, copper, molybdenum, nickel, lead, tin, tungsten, and zinc. And we were aiming at creating a potential map of copper mineralization in the study area. And on the left side, you can see a map of stream sediment samples which are available in the study area. And as you can see, in some regions, actually, we have only few or no actually stream sediment sample. And on the right side, you can see our positive and negative samples which have been used to train our machine learning models. And we have used the known copper mineral recurrences as positive samples. And we have generated a set of random samples as negative samples. Here in this figure, you can see the result of applying a standard random forest on the original dataset, which is an imbalanced dataset. And we have only around 30 copper mineral occurrences in the study area. And we generated around 150 random samples. So we need actually to change our dataset from an imbalanced dataset to a balanced dataset by oversampling the positive samples or mineral occurrences that we have. And as you can see, based on the confusion matrix that we have created, we can see that the accuracy is 0.88, not bad, but the recall is 0.4. And if you have a look at the recall of the positive class, you can see it's 0.4, which is not that idle. And using the oversampling methods, we tried to improve the accuracy and recall of our models. Here in this figure, you can see the result of applying standard random forest with smooth samples, and also the mineral occurrences have been draped over the interpolated map of the predicted samples on the left. And here are the confusion matrices of the previous map. And we have created two confusion matrices. One is related to the original, one has been created using the original data, and the other one has been created using the oversampled data. And as you can see, the accuracy and recall have been significantly improved in using the random forest with these smooth samples, and this confusion matrix is related to the original data, so you can see that we have only 10 positive samples actually to evaluate the results. Because of this, actually we applied we actually created a new confusion matrix using the test data set of the oversampled data as well. And you can see this time we have 46 positive samples, that 35 of them have been correctly actually classified as positive samples, and 11 of them have been falsely classified as the negative samples. And you can see the accuracy and recall drops here. And here is the result of applying standard random forest with GAN samples, and we actually used a very simple, neural network to create generator and discriminator networks. And here is the result of the standard random forest using the GAN samples. And here are the confusion matrices and also of the previous map, and the confusion matrix here is the confusion matrix generated by the original data, and here is the confusion matrix generated by the oversampled data. And you can see that accuracy and recall in both of these confusion matrices is an acceptable value. And here is our final map actually, which has been created using the proposed hybrid approach. Actually, the map of standard random forest with smooth GAN samples. And here are the confusion matrices of these maps. And you can see that the result is similar to the standard random forest using the using the GAN samples, and the accuracy and recall in both of these confusion matrices are acceptable values. And compared to the GAN method, the recall has been slightly improved in the case of our second confusion matrix, which has been created using the oversampled data. Well, based on the results, we can conclude that oversampling methods such as SMOT and GAN can significantly improve the accuracy of potential maps and overcome the class imbalance problem of geochemical datasets, and even it can be applied on any other exploration datasets. And based on the results, these methods are able to find out internal connections and characteristics between multivariate geochemical data and avoid the noise influence in predictions. The extracted anomaly zones show a strong spatial relationship with known mineral occurrences and potential igneous host rocks like diorite. And even we observed that using those maps, we were able to predict some anomalous zones that were far from mineral occurrences, and those areas can be promising and can be target zones for field observations. And there are several possible future directions from this work, such as applying the proposed methodology to neural networks, such as convolutional neural networks, over sample imbalanced geochemical datasets. And future work can feature a Bayesian framework where Markov chain Monte Carlo sampling methods can be used to incorporate uncertainty in the predictions and develop a probabilistic data generation process via GANs. Here are also the major references that we have used in this study, and the scripts that have been used in this study will be available soon, and which have been actually written using Python programming language and using a variety of libraries. Thank you all for listening.